ForGG has control tower with Cloak, so I was expecting Science Cells at this point, but instead it seems like he's going to go for Heavy Wraith. Did not spot that early to start point, so he might be reading HoGiL completely here. He might be reading his Guardians. Those Wraiths are going to be coming out, are going to rip those Guardians to shreds. And ForGG apparently just feeling confident enough to just stay on these two bases for now. I still don't know where they spot it, but he knows what he's facing. And I think once he fights off, once he has enough to fight back those Guardians, he's going to do some nice troop damage to HoGiL. And then finally move on to some bases, to get some bases up. Because HoGiL is also working on ground upgrades. A Devourer in there as well. Two Devourers in there alongside those Guardians. So HoGiL also knowing that those Wraiths are going to be on the way. We're going to see how well those Devourers help him against those Guardians. Meanwhile, now finally ForGG going to work on that 6 o'clock position. Bunch of Marines are going to go attack that. HoGiL doesn't seem to be moving his Guardians out of position to go defend the base. There are sunken colonies. There is a Nidus Canal, and don't know what he has for the Nidus Canal. Still haven't seen any Defiler Mound. HoGiL has a limited amount of time right now. I still don't know even if he knows about those troops there, so what might explain why he's not moving up, because I don't see anything for him to spot that. There are Scourge now flying over it, so this should give him an idea. He has one Guardian in there, and a few sunken colonies to help him defend, but I just don't think this is close enough to what he needs to defend that 6 o'clock. Losing that 6 o'clock position would be a heavy blow, would allow ForGG to safely attack HoGiL and give him a very nice opportunity to get to take a quick advantage in this game. Defiler Mound is on the way, but I just don't think HoGiL is going to be in a very good position here. I think there was a fourth creep colony on the way. Right now, Wraith's coming in first, picking off the Guardians. Another sunken colony of the current 3 right now, but ForGG going to go on that attack. 2 sunken colonies busted right away. Drones are going to go to the Nidus Canal and run away, so most of the drones stay alive, but the 6 o'clock expansion goes down. Devour is in no position to help against those Wraiths. Huge amount of Wraiths. They're even going to have cloaking once they need it. Some Scourge in position as well, but not nearly enough. Ultra's carrying him on the way. And HoGiL losing that 6 o'clock, though, don't think it's quite enough. I think going for additional tech right now is not the best idea, because only he's going to have 3 bases with 3 gas. ForGG, meanwhile, picking up his natural expansion. I think he just started picking up about a minute ago. Still more creep colonies being added in. So HoGiL definitely a little bit of a panic mode. Adding in creep colonies anywhere, wasting minerals at all locations, adding a bunch of extra hatches as well, a bunch of extra minerals that he was going to utilize, and spore colonies now as well to prevent those Wraiths from being too much of a pain. But ForGG playing a good game here, and I thought HoGiL was going to give ForGG some trouble earlier on with that, getting those early bases, but ForGG just played calmly, spotted that 6, took it out, sniped it. Now HoGiL's the one who's in trouble. He has armor 1 in his forces, but ForGG has weapons 1. He has a significantly larger ground army. Also going to expand all the way to the upper left-hand position beyond the X. He knows he controls the map at this point. He knows that HoGiL cannot go for any heavy attacks. HoGiL has to play on the defensive, so ForGG is controlling the game right now, just getting more Wraiths out there and getting nothing but the Wraiths and Medic Marine army, because he doesn't really have much to fear, doesn't really need Science Vessels right now. He's not facing any Lurkers or heavy groups of Muta, and he doesn't really need Science Vessel against Guardians when you have all those huge amount of Wraiths. So ForGG definitely in absolute control of this game. Has a second engineering bay up as well, so I'm putting that up. So he's going to continue working the upgrades, flying around, picking up Overlords, and I still think that only a couple of Devourers and a few Scourge are not going to be enough to pick off those Wraiths. Oh man, HoGiL now forced to pick off some of his own sunken colonies just to give himself a route for his ground armies, just to allow his Ultras to run around. Finally going to pick up the 6 o'clock position again, but still not in the best position. Wow, 4 sunken colonies. Is he gonna take out more? 4 sunken colonies. That's so many wasted resources. I still think he put up way too many sunken colonies to defend his natural. I honestly feel that half the amount would have been enough alongside some circling support. I mean, I understand he was droning up. He definitely wanted to get some sunken colonies down, but I honestly feel that even with a small amount of mutas and 5 sunken colonies instead of 10, maybe 6 sunken colonies would have been enough to defend what he wanted. But he does have Dark Swarm now. Go out there just to... Plagues, unfortunately, only catches 1 Wraith. Not quite what he wanted. You're going to catch the rest of the Wraiths with the Devourers. Only a few Devourers still in there, but not enough to engage these Wraiths. And the Overlords being able to Devourers... Oh, man, just being crushed by those Wraiths. And even though ForGG being forced to fight some forces under Dark Swarm, still not enough. Some Overlords still go down. And HoGiL still in the defensive 6 o'clock position, not coming up. Finally a play, catching all those Wraiths. So catching a lot of Wraiths except 1. So just a little bit. Acid Spores, 2. So Wraiths now in a lot of trouble. A lot more vulnerable than earlier. A Muta or 2, just Gablamo will do that, take care of it. Science is just sitting on top of the command center. Finally have some tanks and firebats out there. So ForGG just working on more factories as well, adding machine shops, who's going to try to get some tanks out there. He's in a very good economy-wise, has a 4th base running. So we have a Terran player who's a base over a Zerg player. You know that's never a good thing. HoGiL trying to take the inside 9. I think he's trying to retake the 6, but he's going to have to do some amount of stuff here. Just forced to cancel that new base of his. And despite the nice plagues from HoGiL, I got to commend him. He's doing some nice plagues, catching a nice amount of forces there, but just doesn't have enough. Seems like a drop coming in, actually. Devours and Mutas to support Guardians coming in as well. Apparently, HoGiL is going to go for it all right here. Inside the main, hoping he can do enough damage with just this and finish the game right here because he knows he has to do a significant amount of damage. Actually dropping outside the plaguing all the supply depots. So this is nice. Dark Swarm on top, so he's going to be able to pick off a lot of spiders. But ForGG on time, all of his fire bats coming off. Another plague on those fire bats, so they might go down quickly. But not enough forces. Devours and Mutas coming in to engage the Wraiths, which are all significantly damaged. But the Wraiths still fighting the back row. Such a large number that can actually fight back against this. Fire bats picking off most of the Zerglings. So ForGG lost quite a few supply depots, but nothing he won't survive from. Losing a bit, I think, what, half of his Wraiths and surviving the rest of it? Absolutely nice defense there for ForGG. Taking a long time to kill the last Devourer, but still coming out there with like 4 or 5 Wraiths and still alive and still good to go. Alive and kicking. HoGiL fighting back, mostly with Cracklings and Dark Swarm. His Ultra Waste Cannon just sitting there uselessly. But still just not enough. Look at ForGG. I don't even know what he's getting himself ready for. A bunch of science vessels, dropships, tanks, and stuff. And he's just getting himself ready for something crazy. Bunch of machine shops being added to factories outside of his bases. 4 bases mining. God. Picking up the 12 o'clock. HoGiL actually going to expand at the... Oh my god. Expand at the 2 o'clock. This is madness. This is madness. No, this isn't Sparta. This is just madness. Oh my god. Is ForGG even mining at the lower left-hand base? Oh my god, it's picked up the lower left-hand. I mean, the Beyond Egg expansion. Is he even mining there? I don't see anything going on at that base. I don't know what's happening there, but ForGG did an absolutely great job of just denying these expos. HoGiL desperately trying to get some expos up. 6 o'clock position going to get taken down. This inside 9 is going to get taken down. I just think we're just a few minutes away from a GG because HoGiL, despite a nice drop there overall, didn't manage to do quite the damage he wanted. He wanted to delay the game longer just by doing some damage there, but not quite managed to do that. I want to see the lower left-hand base. What's going on there? Don't seem to see anything any mining going on there. So kind of wonder what's happening. So we see a bunch of fire bats out there for GG as well. Has weapons 3 upgrades and hasn't actually. Don't see any armor upgrades. Oddly enough, I think I saw him having 2 engineering bays, so that's kind of odd. But a bunch of tanks with C. So yeah, ForGG finally see the armor upgrade. But ForGG is going to start rolling across. Nidus Canal at the 6, so he's going to get at least a plague off. Is he going to get a plague off? Yeah, 2 plagues off, so he might actually manage to fight this back. Eraser trick coming off. A nice plague on all those science vessels, but with no Muta in sight, might not help him as much as he wanted. Even more overlords going down to those Wraiths. Wraiths being annoying. Firebats just... Never mind the Dark Swarm. Firebats just come in. Well, Dark Swarm is fun and all, unless you have actually something under it. A few Zerglings was all he had. Firebats just ripping through that. 6 o'clock base going to go down. HoGiL still sitting on 4 right now. He managed to at least get 1 base up at that 2:30 o'clock, I guess, position. Has some ultras out there. Just 4-2 upgrades, so they are fairly powerful, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Way more A-rates than he can deal with, and a bunch of tanks. No upgrades, but bunch of tanks. Even with no upgrades, tanks with firebats and medic marines to support just overall tech army. It's going to be insane. He's going to go out and do a bunch of damage. Siege up, and before anything else happens, HoGiL decides to skip on the more misery that he was going to take there. So ForGG going to move on and face Hyuk, where he's actually in a good opportunity to move on to this round of 16 in this tournament. Hyuk's versus Turin is actually pretty bad. So ForGG, we're going to see what he brings. HoGiL looking a bit dejected. Had a plan, but gave ForGG too much time, really, for GG to amass up a huge army. ForGG did not go for an additional base. Instead, just amass a huge army and did something with it. And ForGG playing a bit too defensively that entire game, I feel. So we're going to move on to the winners match. GG, guys. Wrenching out. This listening. See you soon.